I always get button happy at the beginning of the show. I don't know why. I do this every week. I get freaking button happy. It's all good. What is going on, guys? It's going to be a good night. Let's have a good feeling about tonight. If you guys are tuning in, thank you for so much. I'm going to go through a quick little sponsors and stuff and before we get started. But welcome to episode 44 of the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast. This is a place where we're going to connect some melodies and memories with both fans, artists, and some of the most interesting people in and around the music community. And tonight we are presented by our good friends over at Arlo Revolution, as you saw their quick video, as well as all of our on-screen sponsors. Let me run through them real quick and hide this. There you guys go. But as our on-screen sponsors, I was talking, our Art on a Higher Wire by Joel L., original custom artwork inspired by your life moments, treasured photos, and memories. Find them on Facebook. My good friend Corey Oliphant and the original church choir, we're happy to have them on every week. And just a good reminder where this whole podcast started from, this church choir. And last but certainly not least, our good friend Janet Sloth, creative online marketing services guaranteed to make companies be found and succeeded on the web. Find them on Facebook and all over. And I do got to give a special shout out to Janet. They are leaving us after tonight. Their sponsorship did run out, and so they will not be around next month. But we do want to thank them for so much for their support. I know times are tough, and it was amazing to have them on board for so long. So appreciate it. And if things change up, love to have you guys back, because it's been amazing having you part of the show week after week. But other than that, if you're looking for ways to support the show, our Patreon is always our number one. It's our heart of our show. We have monthly giveaways over on Patreon. If you guys have not checked it out, this is the last week to join to get involved in our July giveaway, which is a Jack Daniels gift card. $25 gift card for Jack Daniels, a $25 Chief merch gift card, and an autographed copy of The Divine Devils by Jeremy Spillman, which is an amazing book. So we talk about it every week almost, and I'm probably gonna keep giving these books away because I'm a fan of it, fan of the writer, and it's just badass to have this guy. But if you guys are able to do that, that'd be awesome. We are 4 Patreons away from hitting our goal of 75. So it's really cool because if you're a Patreon, it's $5 tier or more, you get to watch a really cool after show. And then tonight we're going to have a really fun one. We're going to talk about that in a second. But if Patreon's not something you can do right now, other ways to support the show is to like, share, and subscribe anywhere and everywhere you can. The biggest being Apple's podcast, or Apple's over on Apple 5-star reviews, as well as YouTube subscriptions. And by sharing this live stream right here tonight, since we are on live on Facebook, if you're listening to this on a streaming platform, you can join us live every Tuesday night on Facebook. And starting next week, if you guys haven't seen the update, it is going to be moved to 7 o'clock starting next week. I can't wait. I'm excited to go a little bit hour earlier because my hours are changing. So I figure I got to go a little bit earlier. But we are going to start at 7 next week. All links will be in our show notes so you can catch up on everything. I thank everyone, though, out there for your continued support and growth of this show. We are just, if you didn't hear last week, we hit 250,000. So over 250,000 views already on Facebook. I just can't believe it. So Norway, that is interesting. We got somebody from Norway. We had somebody from Greece not too long ago. I'm always looking for that person from Greece. If you're out there and you're listening to it, reach out to me because I don't know why, we had some crazy chart numbers in Greece. So I was talking about our really cool after show. So if you are a part of our Patreon or over there on our Patreon only Facebook group, definitely tune in because we are going to have a really fun, really cool after show. We are bringing back Chris Johnson from season 1. He's one of my favorite guests to always have back on for an after show party. And Mr. Thomas Dunham is coming on, which is going to be awesome just to talk to him. And we're going to talk about pit horror stories, some of the craziest stuff you might have heard. We're going to be like, okay, yeah, that definitely happened, or no, that's just bullshit. That's just made up. So it's going to be a great time for an after show party tonight. So we're going to sit around, chat, just us 4 for about a half an hour over on our Patreon only Facebook page. You have all night to get a hold of that. Click the link. I'll share it in the chat real quick right now before I bring on our guests. Let me go find that. So, but it's definitely pretty cool. We got tons of tiers over there. So go check that out. I'll share this link. I'm ready for this after show, guys. It's going to be fun. I'm ready for the main show, too. Before I'm done rambling. So tonight, guys, we're welcoming in someone I'm honored to call a friend. Jon is one of the most passionate people I've ever met in the music world. And I can't wait to hear his story, just the kind of where it all started from. And God, it's gonna be a fun one. So let's bring Jon on, guys. I can find my buttons.
Brother.
What's up, Doug? I told you I'm having button trouble tonight. So how you doing, man? You're cooped up in a hotel somewhere in what, Tennessee?
Yeah, I'm down here working Pigeon Forge in Gatlinburg area.
I think we got a delay. Hold on. Let's see. If you guys have any kind of delay, just let me know. You can see the screen, right, Jon?
Yeah, I got you. I got full bars, but
Okay, cool.
I got like a little bit of a.
Yeah, we're good now. Check my feed and everything else. Yeah, we're golden. All right, cool. Oh, where'd I go? See, now that was weird. My other camera just turned on. Okay, I'm back. You can see me now, all right?
Yeah, I got you.
Taylor's calling you a sexy beast in the chat already. So if you guys have not met Jon before, he is a member of Eric Church's fan club, the Church Choir. That's where I originally met him. But to me, he's more than that. He is just a very passionate music fan that travels all over for a lot of artists. I mean, there's about maybe 5 or so that you're pretty passionate about, pretty loyal to, that you'll follow around. But man, you also are kind of more of the quiet member. You don't really get out and post a lot in the groups, and you kind of like shy away from all that. But people just know you from the pit and just from these church shows and all these other different shows as Front Row Jonny, man, or Jonny Front Row. So tell me, where did it start for you? Where was the first taste of music you ever remember hearing, dude?
Like my childhood grew up listening to like Alabama. Garth Brooks was huge. My dad loved Garth Brooks. My first show was Alabama when I was 4, and I still have that shirt. So someday maybe I'll break it out if I lose a few pounds and wear that to a show one day.
You're like, is your dad like me now, where I'm buying my kids like the large shirts of the concerts? Oh, he'll grow into it. He'll definitely grow into it.
Yeah. It was my aunt that bought it for me. She's like, "Yeah, we'll get him this, and he can wear it for years." And I still have it.
That is awesome, man. That is so cool. So Alabama, man, that's a pretty cool way to start off. I mean, as a first concert, going to see Alabama, I mean, definitely you probably got left wanting more after that, being only 4, but still, you probably felt something. But what was the first concert experience you remember?
The first one I remember, it was probably, I was like 12 or 13 going to the state fair, and it was actually
Told you I got that.
The state fair. It was actually God, I can't even think of the guy's name. He played a character on South Park for a while, big black guy. But that's the first one I remember.
Oh,
my buddy's mom was obsessed with him.
Wasn't it like Big Gay Al, was it?
No, man, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. I'll get you an answer on that here.
Oh, you're talking the guy with the deep voice.
Yes, Isaac Hayes. There you go.
Isaac Hayes. Yeah, I'm like, all right, I know what you're talking about now. We got this. So that was pretty cool. So you're a fair kid. I remember going to a lot of fairs when I was a kid. Seeing Enough's Enough though all the time. They always be playing Illinois. I don't know why. They travel around playing that place. And that was like the earliest shows I would remember is going to see them at these little fairs. But growing up in Wisconsin, man, you guys really didn't have much to do, huh? Other than concerts and farming?
I'm a city kid, to be honest, but I'm a farm kid at heart too, because my grandma lived out in the country. So fairs, I played a lot of sports growing up: basketball, baseball, football, the whole works. Anything you could do.
What part of Wisconsin did you grow up around?
Madison area. I still live in the area, just outside in the suburbs now.
Everybody's making fun of your hair in your picture, dude.
Listen, life choices are terrible.
That is funny. Hey, man, you gotta start somewhere. I used to have platinum blonde hair for a while, and hey.
I had the platinum blonde as well.
You're lucky I never post a picture of that one.
Yeah, they're out there. Everybody used to call me Eminem, man.
Yeah, see, I had that going too for a little bit. So, but yeah, going into what was your first taste like real country other than the Alabama show and then Isaac Hayes? Like, what were you digging into? Like, when you really first started digging into someone like, hey, I like this guy, or this is somebody I could support. Like, who was like your first guy that you had?
I mean, corny as it sounds, Eric was the first one where I went to a show and, and he was the opener, and it was like, man, who is this dude? Like, we were just there to have a good time, have some drinks, and cut loose, and then one thing led to another, and I mean, here we are.
I mean, I'm telling you, living around Madison, you got to see some wild ass shows, dude. Because I know, well, we were briefly talking about the St. Patrick's Day in March of, I think it was probably like '09 or something. And then, man, what was the other one? Well, I know he played Alliant a couple times, Energy or whatever.
Yep,
Wasn't that
I was
the
at a couple of those.
I think I was either Rockford or Madison where I saw, where did he play like this first or second night of the Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour? Was that Madison? Oh, are you still there? I'm losing your audio.
Yeah, I'm still here.
There you are.
It was Madison.
Okay, I remember that. I remember we doing Madison last minute because that was when I got a ticket like all the way up top, like last row. I'm telling you, dude, I saw some crazy ass stuff up there.
Yeah, yeah. That was John Party, actually. That was a show I caught him at for one of the first times. That was pre-cowboy hat, wearing like just a regular button-up shirt. It's a very good possibility. We drank a lot that night. I know I did.
Did you ever go to the show he did at the Coronado Church did in Rockford?
No, I did not go to that one.
I think Party opened up that show for him. So
Okay.
that was that was pretty fun though. So, but yeah, so growing up or coming to it, I mean, church. So you're saying 2006 was your first time seeing them. So you caught them right on the early bat. Actually, did have an early on picture that I found. Probably Madison. I know I found that you posted, but you could tell this is way back in because that's like the 06, 07 backdrop.
Yeah, that was Madison, I think. That was probably like 08 or 09. The first time I saw him was the summer after I graduated high school. So I had no money.
Yeah.
Making $7 an hour at a job, sneaking booze into the fair type of deal. That was a good time.
What do you think? I mean, the first time you went and saw him, I mean, you didn't actually hear any of his music, or was it kind of your first time actually hearing Church at all?
Well, the first time I saw him, I had never heard of him. Well, actually, this was 09 because this was either right before or right after Carolina came out. I think it was right. I want to say right before. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we had known, the Sinners album was always on repeat, and coming into Carolina, we were all excited to hear the new stuff live, and yeah, that show was a hell of a night.
Yeah, no, I was looking through some of your pictures from. I saw Spencer comment in the chat. I was looking through some of your pictures, and there's some with Spencer's license plate in there. I was like, oh, look at this. These guys, you probably really didn't know each other, but saw the Wisconsin license plate at a couple shows. Like, oh, who is this asshole?
I actually met Spencer in Green Bay, I believe it was. He had a meet and greet in like 2014, maybe 13, something like that. 14 at the Rush Center up there.
Yeah, he said Coronado right now.
I'm pretty sure it was him.
He's a wild one, man. Oh, Johnson says he needs to get back to Madison for some more barbecue sometime soon. Oh, 2014 is when Spencer says.
Yeah.
All right. All right, man. So when you start really following church, I mean, you weren't really like kind of following people around that time. I mean, were you just sticking around the Wisconsin shows, or were you kind of traveling a little bit?
We traveled a little bit. That Carolina, well, I guess that'd be what, Young and Wilder, like that tour. I think we hit Milwaukee, we might have hit Green Bay, so mostly Wisconsin. And then Blood, Sweat, and Beers was when I kind of finally had a big boy job and could afford to stay in a hotel, travel a little bit. So we hit a couple shows. I think we did Bloomington, maybe St. Louis, the local fairs. He played a whole bunch of fairs right around that time around here.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of when it really kicked off, probably like 2011, 2012, something like that.
Yeah, that's where I got lucky. Like, kind of like I moved back home in 2009 from Mississippi, but like those first 3 years, he's always playing like in that little southern area between Memphis and like Alabama. So I got to see him, but he would always come up here, I know, and do like Wisconsin, Chicago, Michigan on like a 3-night tour or a 3-night run. And it was always cool trying to follow him around or something. And it was always fun seeing all those shows. Did you ever go up and see him? This is one of the crazy shows. Spencer knows about this one. But it's in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, when you played out that way.
No, that would have been awesome, dude. That's a little tiny town.
It was they have like an ice arena in like the middle of the town, but it's like they haven't had ice in there for years and it smelled funky as hell. Put them in this little mini ice arena. It was I don't even remember. I don't even want to remember that place. But so kind of like, so where did the passion come from with the music, where when you kind of really said, all right, this is my guy and I want to go and start seeing more shows and going to different cities. And then from there, it kind of sprouted out to a couple other artists. But Church was like your real first traveling artist. But what made you kind of say, okay, I'm going to go early. I want to get up front. And this is where I want to be for this guy.
Well, truth be told, we never used to get up front. We'd just take a group of guys and we'd go. But then we started seeing people that we had seen at other shows. They'd, hey, they're in, Illinois at Bloomington, or they're, up in Green Bay, or they're in Milwaukee. So then it was like, oh, hey. And it was like just a local group of people, around the Midwest area. And then I met Taylor and Mitch and Nina and Jason in like 2014. And that was when we kind of like all started doing our little deal, going around, and that would have been like the Outsiders tour, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the tour where I think I started a new job, and I couldn't get out, couldn't do shit. So I was just like, oh man. So I kind of lost touch with a lot of people that tour, but that's where I know, like you said, you met Taylor, where everybody I call it like the new choir started really forming. And it was awesome. Like when I first got to meet you guys, I think the first time I really hung out was in Milwaukee, like holding my own. See, I think of that picture.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, that was a fun night, man. Just from all that. But what did you think with Eric's tour
that night?
Isn't that the night you ended up at?
Yes,
the safe house. You're at the safe house first. We won't talk about where you ended up, but you started at the safe house or somewhere because everybody was looking for you. And someone's like, he's at a safe house or something. They're like, where is that? I'm like, oh, I know where's that is. I can tell you guys. But I don't know if we ever found you or not. But I heard you had a good night. But that was definitely a fun night.
Yeah.
So, oh man, let me see. Where's that other picture? I thought I had another picture from around then too. I don't know where I happened to it. Dude, I got so many. Like I was talking to John before he went live. I was like, dude, you have so many pictures. It took me forever to sort through these, but it was so fun. Just kind of looking back, because you had a lot of pictures where, like I said, it was Spencer's license plate in different shows where I was like, oh shit, I was at that show. And it's like, I don't know how we never really kind of looked up, but like I said, you never really were social. Like, not saying social, like social media stuff. You never really posted much, right, or like on their old board. You kind of just kept to yourself and did your thing. So, but with church, how did you end up discovering Brothers Osborne? Was it really opening for them or for him, or where did that come from?
So I actually saw them at a local deal back home, like 2013, 2014, must have been 13, because then they opened at Joe's when Eric did the 6 shows in 2 days. They opened at Joe's for him, and that was the second time that I saw him, and it was like, holy cow, these guys are legit. And then from there, it just snowballed.
Tour, right? Or the little, when he did the Outsiders thing, album release.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the first time I ever saw Brothers. Like I heard about them, and I knew like John Peach was their manager and stuff. I was like, oh, I might have to check them out. And then the surprise show and church came and brought them with. I was like, okay. And then that's the first time I always remembered Rum from that night. I don't know why that was the one song that stuck with me. I was like, these guys are really freaking good.
Yeah.
Too. Sorry.
Yeah, those. Oh, that's all right. That's a throwback. Yeah, that night was kind of when I realized, okay, these dudes have nothing going. They've got like one song on the radio, and they're out here playing for an hour before one of the biggest acts right now.
Yeah, and I think that really helped too when they kind of went out and put them in front of like Church's fans, because I think Church's fans could relate to Brothers Osborne, and in a lot of different ways. I think that was a smart move by Pete's. And then the same thing with Ashley McBride here a few years after Brothers. And I'm like, I really think that kind of really helped, kind of really get them on the radio and kind of getting them heard a little bit. It was kind of getting out there in front of the choir and playing around them and everybody running with them, pretty much.
Yeah, that was definitely a big boost for them. Yeah, shoot from the hip, Johnson. You are spot on right there. That second one you just popped up there, that was actually at CMA Fest the year that I met Nina.
Okay.
That was they were loading that stuff out of their van, and I was like, "Hey, man," I was like, "You want some help carrying that stuff in?" And they're like, "Sure, we're John, TJ, blah blah blah." I'm like, "I know who you are." Like, that's why I asked if you wanted some help carrying it in. And then they're like, "Hey, bought me a beer, took a picture, said thanks, and went and did their deal."
That's cool, dude. That's really cool. I mean, because that's where like they knew you wanted to help and you were there to help. And so is that your first real meeting with them?
No, I think that picture on the bus is before that, or right around the same time.
Cool, man. Yeah. So you probably when you first started hearing
I had
Brothers,
met them a handful of times before that. Just
okay. So when you first started hearing Brothers, though, I mean, when did you really think, okay, these guys are the real deal? Just like when I first started hearing church, and what kind of really got you? Was it the lyrics? Was it the live show? What really got you behind them?
the lyrics for sure, right out of the gate. It was different than everything on radio at the time. It was Florida Georgia Line, Luke Bryan, the drink a beer in a field with my pickup truck, and they were singing about real life stuff. That, don't get me wrong, I've drank a beer in a field with a pickup truck, but Pawn Shop, that album, a lot of that stuff was relatable, and even some of their older songs that never got cut. It was kind of like one of those deals of, okay, this is a song that I can get on, and then their live show, man, nothing beats their live show.
Yeah, I agree, man. And it's just it's another. It was another thing. I think that's kind of what got me drawn to church was his live show. And then when I first saw Brothers, they really got into it and they get the crowd into it. Now I love when they do. God, man, why can't you think of it? Like the 9-minute version of their biggest hit. I can't think of the name.
Stay a Little Longer. Yeah, like 17 minutes of it. Just guitar solo after guitar.
The one that had all the presents in it where they're chasing them around in the video. What freaking song? I can't think of that.
Well, Stay a Little Longer is their only number one to date.
Why can't you think of that song? It probably was a Stay a Little Longer. I don't know. But when they played at where do we see them? And I was working security. What show was that in Milwaukee?
No, it was Chicago, wasn't it?
No, Milwaukee.
It
ain't my fault. That's the song I was thinking of. It Ain't My Fault.
Oh yeah, Ain't My Fault. Yeah. Well, that one they can get a. Yeah, you're right.
That one was just crazy. I think it was Milwaukee when they played down Milwaukee. I came up there. I worked security, and they played that song. I was like, I kept trying to look over my shoulder, but I was like, okay, I'm supposed to be working security, looking straight out in the crowd, but man, these guys are freaking up here jamming. So that was a really cool night to see all that and see the show from that perspective. Someone says you look like Kenny Powers with your sunglasses stand on.
Dude, it's bad. Like, you can't tell now, but I played ball all weekend, and then being out in the sun today just did not help.
So we briefly talked about kind of growing up and around sports and this and that, but what got you into softball? So now you are a competitive softball player. You play a lot. You took second place in a pretty big tournament this weekend in Wisconsin. But what got you into the whole softball aspect of everything?
My dad played fast pitch softball for years and years. So I run around the ballpark, and then got to play with him for a few years. Started playing on a local team. Got picked up by a couple travel teams. Played top level ball for about 3 years, and then age, drinking, injuries took over. So I took a couple years off, and then the last couple of years I kind of been getting back into it a little bit. So just hanging out with my dad at the ballpark, you know.
I did some beer league softball, but I can't hit worth a damn. So I was like, I'll be the coach. I'll ride the bench and just have fun watching everybody else play. We can roll with that. So you keep busy though, man. But what are you doing this year? Because I know for myself, I am definitely a concert junkie, dude. And that's kind of like, I was actually just talking to my wife not too long ago about kind of like, that's the way I release. That's like kind of like my stress reliever, my anxiety break is going to live shows and clearing my head, clearing my thoughts, getting some emotions out, kind of recharging everything. I do that at shows, I feel. What are you doing to replace that this year?
Well, I've been lucky enough to stay working through all this nonsense that's been going on. And then I'm working in Tennessee. So I've been back and forth 3 weeks, 2 weeks, a month at a time. And I'll go back for a week so I can, get my ducks in a row, take care of stuff around the house or whatever. So, I mean, I've been spending a lot of time down here. Did some hiking. Me and Taylor and Mitch went out one day, went out a couple days on my own. I kind of become like family with the IT guy down here, so the hotel room here. So, I mean, and then playing softball, they let us start playing softball again about a month ago. So that's been occupying time when I've been back.
Nice, man. So you keep him busy. So that's definitely a way to keep away from the concert blues, I guess. But yeah, I know I've just been working and like going from work to home, back and forth. And I'm like, man,
yeah,
I could really use like just a stadium of like 20,000 people right now. It's like shoulder to shoulder, like breathing on one another, passing joints and beers around. And I could really use something like that right now, like just to be out there. I mean, it sucks that we can't have it, but I don't think we're going to have anything like that for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I would give it summer next year probably at the earliest before you're going to see anybody be willing to take a big stadium, a big festival, something like that. Because
you have these little
science.
Yeah. So how with Wisconsin? I mean, I know you've been back and forth now, but I don't know if you've heard with Illinois now adding Wisconsin to this travel ban or whatever, or this 14-day quarantine. Is that going to affect you at all in any way if you have to come to Illinois for work?
No idea. We have a handful of customers in Illinois, and we're considered essential.
Okay, cool, man.
We're considered essential.
We're losing your volume again.
To fix the server and then turn on my phone. Oh, I got service here.
Oh, we're coming. I think you're getting it back now.
You got me?
Yeah. Every now and then it goes in and out, but we're all good. We're saving it. So it's rolling.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to take it a day at a time. Sounds corny, but I don't have an option other than that at this point. So
I hear you, man. It's something new every week or it's just so crazy. So before we really get to like my last couple topics I have, but being really passionate about music and seeing so many different artists out there, and I know, like I said before, you have like your handful that you love, you follow, but who do you think is just one of the most underrated artists that are still out there touring, running around, and working their asses off?
I mean, you got Cody up there on that picture. He's starting to get his dues finally. Mm-hmm. Alex Williams is another guy that I've been following a little bit the last few years. the man can write the songs. He can play the guitar. He's not going to write the radio friendly songs, but as far as a content based song, he's definitely at the top of my list for sure.
Sweet, yeah. I definitely like when I was going through your photos, I saw like a lot of Kip Moore. So I definitely know you're a huge Kip Moore fan. And then Josh Thompson, we kind of briefly talked about them, but he's from Wisconsin too. But were you ever a real big Josh Thompson fan?
Yeah, I love him. We've seen him a few times, state fair, local deals. That's at CMA Fest. He played a radio station deal that we did a couple years back that I was able to get to work at. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
He's a great dude, down to earth. Can't ask for much more. I mean, he's one of my own, obviously.
Definitely, man. He's a hell of a songwriter too, I feel. But like talking about Kip and Cody, it's just coming up. I really think that country music's going to shift. I don't know why, but I just have a feeling that it's going to shift soon. And we're going to get people like Cody and Kip and all of them are going to kind of start rising up, I think, and get a little bit more notification or a little bit notoriety, I guess, out there. And it's about time that they get radio play and all this other stuff because I'm tired of hearing, like you said earlier, beers and pickup trucks and tailgates and all this other stuff. I mean, we need real life. I mean, I remember when country music used to be sad. Give me a good sad song or something like that. And we don't really have that stuff anymore. So, but what do you feel needs to happen for country to lose like their stigma that they have right now of just being this poppy, cheesy Taylor Swift, Florida Georgia Line crap?
Oh man, we can talk about this for hours, but long story short, there's too much of trying to cross over this and cross over that. And I mean, Florida Georgia Line and BB Rexa took a song that had like 16 words in it to number one for 50 some weeks, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, plain and simple.
Yeah.
So, I mean, content for me, you're going to see people that are going to get sick and tired of it, as a lot of the church fans have done. Funny story about that night. As a lot of the church fans have done, Ashley's fans, Brothers fans, Kip fans, they're sick and tired of hearing the same old. I mean, I work for a radio station part-time back home, and I don't even listen to the radio station that I work for because it's top 40.
Oh, yeah. I can't even tell you the last time I've listened to Chicago radio, man. Like, I heard the other day that Bobby Bones was on one of the Chicago radio stations. I'm like, oh, when the fuck did that happen? Like, I don't even remember that him coming over or anything to that. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I haven't listened ever since, like, Chicago had a really good morning show for the longest time. I used to listen to them, and then they got rid of them, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. Because they would play a good mixture. I mean, it was Lisa Denton, Ramblin' Ray, and they were just amazing. I think it's still probably two of the best duo in country radio ever, but I can't listen to radio anymore, dude. Even like XM and everything else, I'll put on like Apple Music, throw on like, I think it's like Country Riders or just playlist and go off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been getting big into the murder mystery podcast when I'm driving around for work. Like that's playing in the background. I don't even get music. My radio is usually off.
What's been your favorite murder mystery ones so far?
That's kind of been my biggest thing lately.
Which ones have you been listening to?
What was that?
Which ones have you been listening to?
I've been listening. Small Town Murder is the one I've been listening to a lot. It's what are the two guys' names? I can't remember what their names are, but basically they'll pick little podunk towns and like murder stories that you don't hear of, where like the police department screwed it all up, or stuff like that, or the local cops just totally missed this guy that everybody knew it was him, but they couldn't figure it out, type deal. And these guys, they tour around doing these shows live, like they do it, every week from a studio, and then they'll go on tour. I was actually going to see them in Madison right around this time, but obviously with everything that's going on, that's not happening. Yeah,
I listened to Up and Vanished. That was really good. It was about like this small little town in Georgia, and this beauty queen or whatever went missing, and they actually ended up discovering or finding the killer during the podcast. Like the guy kind of pretty much started asking the right questions, which one thing led to another, and the guy turned himself in eventually, or I think his girlfriend like turned him in and everything else. I'm like, this is crazy. Like listening to the podcast and the ending actually having an ending to it, and so now they still do. I guess the trial's still going on, so they still keep up with them, and they still go back and talk about like the trial and everything else. Now I haven't caught back up on it, but it was pretty crazy, like how it all happened. They started talking about it and uncovering stuff. But I love like the missing stories, like the stuff they do, the investigating and everything else that they do to put into it and to find these people. So, but
yeah,
I love those.
There's another one though that same two dudes do called Crime in Sports. So they'll take like famous people, athletes, obscure athletes, and you find out these guys that are drug dealers or they were, wife beaters or drug heads, coke heads, pot heads, drunks, whatever.
That dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm gonna check that one out too. Huh. Look at this. I'm making some notes tonight. Learning stuff. It's like, all right, got me some new podcast to listen to now. So, another thing is I kind of just to talk about going through your pictures and looking at all these different ones. Who do you think are going to be the next women of country that are going to be coming out? Because I know that's one thing that men have been dominating the country music charts, and I know it's one thing that's been highly talked about and everything. But I mean, I don't want to say why do you think that is? Because we could be here all night and a million things. But who's the next crop of country music girls you're looking into? Oh, you're frozen again.
Lainey Wilson, I've been listening to her a lot lately.
All right.
Oh. You got me back?
Again? Yeah, I hear you. I heard Lainey Wilson.
Lainey Wilson, I've been listening to her. We had her at our last little deal for the radio station. Lainey Wilson?
Yeah.
Yep, yeah. I was big into Claire Dawn a few years back, and she never really got a push of any kind, which was kind of unfortunate because she puts on a wild live show. She's dancing and whatever, plays lead.
God, something does not like our connection tonight, dude. I think we just lost John altogether. Let's see if I can get him back for a second. Hang on, guys. Well, while we're waiting to see if we can get John back, let me see if I could. All right, we'll wait and see if we can get him back on. He's probably in the middle of like a tornado somewhere in Tennessee being wiped off the map as we talk. But we'll wait till we get him back on and see. But he was talking about women in country music. So lately I've been listening to a little bit of Jillian Jacqueline. I think she's really good. I forgot what her name of her new song was. Really good. I first saw her a couple years ago. She was opening up for Tucker Bethard, and it was definitely one of my favorites as of late. I'm trying to read some of the comments you guys are giving out. All right, guys, let's hang tight. We're going to try to get John back on and see what happens. If not, we'll have to wrap things up and wait till we get him back on and start the after show a little earlier tonight. But some things I still want to get to with John when we get him back on is his front row, man. How he got the nickname, how he lives the Raise Rowdy quote, front row or don't go. And I definitely want to talk to him a little bit about that tonight. If we could get him back on. So, sorry guys, give me 1 minute. I'm still trying to work on get him back on. It's probably the kids running up and down the hallway probably knocked out the hotel internet. There you are. Is it the kids running down the hallway, John? Oh, that's the bathroom.
You there?
Yeah. I said it's probably
No,
kids.
I have no idea. Like
the internet.
Like I got perfect service, and then it just cuts out. So we'll just stand here as close to the door as I can.
It's all good, man. It's all good. I was like, all right, we'll get them back eventually. So I was just kind of rambling on and trying to work on it. But we were talking about women in country music before all that happened. And you were talking about Lainey Wilson. Have you listened to Jillian Jacqueline at all, or what's your thoughts on her?
Yeah, we had her at the radio station a couple years back. I really enjoyed her. Kind of runs in that same crew as Brothers and some of their other folks. So I've enjoyed her music. She's another like a heartfelt writer. Caitlin Smith, I know Eric had her open a couple times for him.
Yeah.
She kind of dove off into the pop type of music, but it seems these days if a chick's not smoking hot and blonde and whatever, she's not going to see the light of day. Aside of maybe Ashley, I mean, realistically,
Yeah.
There you go.
Ashley's gotten pretty lucky, definitely to make it up the ranks. I definitely think she's going to want to watch out for because she's just amazing. Is what she does. Every song she's been putting out, her band's phenomenal. So, all right, man. Well, briefly.
Yeah, I love her.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you're good.
All right. While you're gone, I was kind of briefly talking, but a little bit about the whole front row or don't go mentality. It was quoted by Raised Rowdy, but I know it was something that you have been doing long before they quoted that. But I know for myself why I do it. But why do you camp outside or get there earlier and do it for multiple people, multiple shows? Like, what's your reasoning behind, okay, I want to be front row?
The first time I experienced it, I mean, it was actually for Jason Aldean. It was the first time where I went and stood in line with somebody, and a girl I met online on a Aldean forum was like, "Hey, we're going to the show. You want to come with?" I'm like, "Sure." And she's like, "Well, we'll be there at noon." I'm like, "Well, I got to work, but I can come at like 3, And that was kind of when it started. And then you experience that, and there's nothing like it in the world. I'll tell you that much.
It's just something different because I feel like the connection that you get with the artist being front row is just unlike any other. And it doesn't really matter who the artist is, as long as you know it, what you're doing or who it is, and you're singing along and having a good time, you're all right. I mean, I've seen some where there's been people in the front row, like Kip Moore, and they come out and like, hey, you ain't gonna smile, you ain't gonna sing, have fun. Get the hell out of here and bring someone else up here that will do this. So I like that.
Yeah. For sure.
So, but I love being in the front row just in general because of like I said, the connection. And yeah, sometimes you got to put up a little extra and time, but as long as you have friends that help you out and get your back and everything else, you can kind of leave sometimes, shower, kind of hang out, and come back. So it ain't too bad. But I put a lot of time into lines for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, man. When Eric played back home in Madison, he played the Orpheum Theater, which is where that St. Patty's show was. He played that in like 2014 or 2015. And that was the first time where I sat like all day. We got out there when the sun came up, and there was a guy from the radio station that I knew called us and like interviewed us from the line. It was really kind of weird. And we sat there, and we're front row center. So that was a first time I actually got my boots on was that night as well. So kind of a special memory on multiple fronts.
I'm trying to think where I was for that show. I don't really remember much of that show. I was there with my parents. It's really all I really remember that night, but it was a fun night. But now have you of course have sat other places other than front row, and you definitely get other perspectives of the show, and I really think it's a completely different show. And everybody, I know some people will get mad. Well, this guy's always front row. That person's always front row. What's your reaction to that when you hear that? I know what mine is, but
Put your time in.
exactly.
Yeah, put your time in. Like if I wanted to spend $25 on a ticket and sit in the upper deck and buy $15 beers, I would. Or
Mm-hmm.
I could spend 150, 200, 250 bucks, sit outside all day,
Sneak some beer
and
with you maybe,
you
and
know, yeah, sneak some Jack in there, whatever.
just don't be like Ryan and break a whole fifth in your pocket or something. I mean, that's just that's no fun.
Yeah. Right.
So you tell me some really cool non-Eric Church. We'll talk about. We got a few more minutes before we start wrapping some things up. But tell me some. Sorry, trying to go with my notes. Your favorite non-Eric Church moments of being in the front row. We're showing like a Garth one here and a Shania one here. That's really cool. So my very first concert, I'll tell this story one day down the line, was Kiss. I got front row, dead center. My uncle just said, pick wherever you went. I was front row for a Kiss show, and I was 14 years old and got to experience some of the coolest shit. And that kind of was what branded me for wanting to be front row, wanting to be like in the action, so to say. So these photos here both look in the action shots. So tell me kind of like, tell me what these photos are about, or just these moments when you're there and you're capturing these kind of moments, or like the Garth one, someone's capturing it for you.
Yeah, that Garth one, that's going to be hard to beat that night. Me and Taylor and Mitch and Nina and Jason and Paige all went to that show, and we had upper deck tickets, and Taylor worked her shirt game magic and got us tickets, a couple in the front row, a couple in the second row. And I actually had been in the second row the night before.
Nice.
But the front row and having him like be right there on top of you get the sweat, like you were saying, being, the full experience, the sweat, the water, him come running at you. I mean, he's 50 some years old. You don't know if he's actually going to stop or if he's going to, keep coming right off the front row, and that night was incredible. And Shania, she was somebody I grew up listening to,
Yeah.
Early, mid, late 90s. That was the thing, with Shania. And then she played the Kohl Center back home, and some girl had a sign, will you take a selfie with me? So that's that girl's head in the bottom corner. And I was like, well, I'm going to get one too, even if she's not looking at the camera. So that one, that was pretty cool. My favorite front row experience is probably a few years back. Came to see Brothers for the first time, and me and my buddy and a couple of friends were at the show, and middle of the show, TJ stops and goes, you guys, after the show, find Luke, who's their manager, and we'll hang out and have some beers. Well, my parents were not in the front row because my mom can't stand for that long. At the time, she had hip issues. Yeah. So I went and grabbed them. I was like, look, I've drank with these dudes. I've partied with these dudes. You guys are going to go. So I sent them up there, and they're like, oh, you guys, come on. And we sat there for a couple hours with them. My parents got to ask them questions and talk to them. So that was probably my favorite moment.
And that's always so far hearing stuff like that. And what they would do. So I remember the first time my parents ever met church, like I don't even think they went to the show. And it was shortly after I met them. I think I texted somebody in the band or something else that said, hey, my parents it was like Mother's Day or something. Like, my parents are standing outside the bus. It's Mother's Day. Anybody at church, just kind of go out and take a picture with them and say hi. It was like 2007 or whatever. And dude was walked off, and they sat there and talked for like a half an hour, just like they've known each other for the longest time. I'm like, now that was cool as hell. Just like different things that they would do like that. So, but when you're down in the pit too, and we were talking about in the front row, you are a taller guy. And sometimes you do kind of maybe piss some people off at times or whatever. But there are times when you do special things for people. And I've seen you lift kids up. I've seen you let people get in front of you and hand a record or help them hand a record up. And things you don't have to do because you earned your spot. You sat out there all day long. You put those hours in. You got up your spot. Why do you still do that? Why do you still look out for other people? I mean, what is it that motivates you to keep you doing that?
I mean, if people are, I get it. Everybody doesn't have the ability to just up and go like I do. So if somebody's got to stay at work or their kids got to go to school or whatever, and they're cool and they're like, hey, would you mind during this song you let me do this? By all means. And then to create a memory like Lil Jackson, that night was incredible. Just to see the smiles on their faces and have them be, they're going to never forget that for the rest of their life, and it sounds corny to say, but, you can relate. You've been there, multiple times. It's almost like it's not that it's not something new, but they may never get that chance again.
And I was there the night that you lift him up, and this was a group picture of all of us. I mean, I think at intermission or whatever, and it was just to see the smile on his face, dude, and just to see how happy that kid was. And like you said, he's gonna have these photos, he's gonna have these autographs, he's gonna have these memories that's gonna last a long time. And it was just cool that you were the one that was part of that and held it up. Anybody else could, I mean, people could be like, oh, this is my time, this is my spot. But dude, it's really cool to see that, because we'll talk on the after show. We'll talk about our horror pit stories. I'm sure we're going to be talking about assholes in the pit. And there's so many,
oh yeah.
But just knowing that you're not one of them, and there's a lot of us that aren't one of them, and that people are the ones that put in the time where we will make sure you guys have your little line. You guys are up front, but you guys always made sure that someone got something signed or someone got an opportunity. And hell, you made it happen being so damn tall, holding these people up so church could actually see what's going on and know and put two and two together. You're kind of like been his crutch when it comes to that on a few times. So it's been really cool to see that and just witness that and just going on, because I love it to see like his reaction with kids. And when I saw Jackson's face, dude, light up, I was just like, that's it, man. You just made that kid's life just to know it. Someone else said people like him that are the reason why.
It's great.
Her daughter Boot got signed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, it's cool as hell. So Hardy says he still can't pronounce your last name right, especially when in the pit line drinking beers.
Man,
it's a good one.
Hardy, it don't have anything to do with drinking beers. Nobody can understand you when you're not drinking beers.
He gets one beer in and he turns into Boomhauer. It's like, Hardy, slow down, dude. Talk. All right, man. I'm sure you've heard or seen this show, but I do something called Hot Seat. It's a little mini game I do. I try to do 60 seconds, 9 quick questions. So let's go and see what your answers are. If you had a dream music crossroads episode, 2 artists, who would it be? 2 artists, 2 different genres, living or dead.
Man, that's tough. Living or dead? I'd have to go with Keith Whitley. Would have to be the dead one, or the whatever. I mean, I'm gonna keep it the same genre. I mean, I'd like to see like a Keith Whitley and as corny as it sounds, Michael Ray, because if you ever heard Michael Ray sing Keith Whitley, it's I could go Eric and somebody or whatever.
Oh, everybody wants Eric and somebody. I want to know, like, if you had somebody like who are you looking to, but that's Michael Ray and Keith Whitley. That'd be a hell of a good combo.
Yeah, when Michael Ray's actually singing good music, he's pretty talented.
See, and honestly, I feel the same way. I know Johnson's out there watching. I know he's the same way. I feel the exact same way about Sam Hunt. Sam Hunt, we're already out of our 60 seconds. I knew this was going to happen. That's why I always leave so much time for this. Sam Hunt, his acoustic album came out, like Cop Car and that stuff. Dude, his acoustic version of Cop Car is phenomenal. And it's just badass. And it's that, like, only music that really surfaces by him is the poppy, corny shit that just gets overplayed and we're like, okay, we're done with. So, all right. Well,
for sure.
Someone said Tupac and Keith Whitley. There you go. Strawberry. That would be interesting. All right, you're pick one: Spotted Cow, Moon Man, or Two Women. If you had to pick one beer, which one are you drinking?
Spotted Cow. Spotted Cow all day.
I would say the other two. Yeah, there's not even a question when it comes to that. Your first cassette tape you ever owned?
Oh God, MC Hammer, the record that had "You Can't Touch This" on it.
Oh, dude, that's the first. I haven't had that one yet. All right. I normally say you don't have to say names, but tonight you have to say a name. The worst artist you've ever seen live. Mine to this day is the Deftones. And Deftones and Red Hot Chili Peppers have been the worst artist I've ever seen live. Country, I don't know. Probably, well, Chris Cagle has been pretty bad. Actually left.
Never seen Cagle, believe it or not. Actually, the last concert that I walked out of was Randy Houser. He sounded terrible. He was just, it was terrible. And before that, Justin Moore, same thing, because he was up there just preaching on about whatever Justin Moore preaches on about, and we were like, you know what, beer's cheaper at the bar, let's go. So,
yeah, Justin Moore.
Those two are probably.
Yeah, if there's any Justin Moore fans out there, I do apologize. I like some of his songs, and I like Justin Moore. Just there's some times where it's better just to sing, dude. I know, but people are like, "Oh, yeah, those moments too." Yeah, okay, but still, I definitely agree with you on that. But yeah, there's some artists that I was like, I'm out, I'm leaving. I'm like, I don't need to see him. Unfortunately, Cagle was one of them that I left early for, and I've seen Cagle 5-6 times. He's been great, but one time I saw him and don't know if he was drunk or what. Jennifer Porter's asking Spotted Cow in the chat. It's a beer you can only get in Wisconsin. So if you ever travel to Wisconsin, definitely check it out. It is probably one of the smoothest.
Yeah, it's a local brewery, about 45 minutes.
All right. So, what's your biggest?
It's a local brewery about 45 minutes from where I live at, and it's amazing.
Who's this?
Like at shows or in general?
No, in general. But someone says for your worst live, John Rowdy Walston.
Oh, yeah, at a sand. Oh my God, that was brutal too. But we couldn't walk out of that one. So
was that before Eric or?
Oh. Yeah, they opened for Eric at a send. I think it was night one. Oh.
All right, there we go. I was like, I'm getting every other word. He's like,
you there?
Ooh. I'm like, giving every other word. Yeah, I hear you now. It was night one of Ascend when they opened up, right?
Yeah.
That was. I think I was there for that one, but I was in the back. And I never. I got there late for that show. So, but someone's saying Keith Urban live. Yeah, I've seen Keith Urban. He's pretty good. Yeah, your biggest pet peeve, man. If you have like one thing that's just like that really gets under your skin, what is it? Concert, non-concert? Everyday life.
Terrible drivers.
Boom.
Terrible drivers drive me.
Annoying, man. That's
Johnson can relate. I drive for a living. So people that are doing 10 under in the left lane, that type of stuff. But concerts, it's definitely people that think that they have the right to push to the front and elbow people and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, the people that don't horror pit stories. The people that think that I can show up 10 minutes before an artist goes on and beeline up front. I don't care if you know somebody up there or not. Let's say and I gotta admit, your group or not your group, just the choir in general, and the people that get there early. All of us that get there early. We have always been good at making sure there's enough chairs or bodies if there wasn't a couple people missing, because we are the ones that are like, okay, 4 or 5 of us show up. You guys will hang out. All right, you guys go chill, go eat lunch, go to shower, come back, and then we'll go. And as long as there's a couple chairs there, and you're like, hey, and you're good, and you're putting your time in because people are still swapping it out. You're still there. You're still showing your face, and then 10 minutes before church or somebody comes on, you have this random person push all the way up front, and like, who the heck and where did you come from? And that right there starts bad blood in the pit, and then that's what starts these horror stories that we'll continue here in about 15 minutes. All right. Once we get through this 60-second game that's taking us 5 minutes, which I figure it would, always give us enough time for it. One venue you wish they would just demolish, level to the ground. I know they recently did the one in Detroit, the Palace Auburn Hills. They took it down finally. What's one that you want to see wiped out? And it's probably the same one I'm thinking.
Well, the Yum Center in Louisville.
Okay.
That was an absolute circus. I almost got kicked out before I even got in. Some little lady decided she needed to grab me after they told us where to go, and we took off running, and yeah, that was bad.
Mine's still U.S. Bank Arena, I think it is in Cincinnati. That needs to go. Just get rid of that whole thing.
That is bad as well. Yeah, that was bad as well. That night, yeah, Nina knows. Yeah, U.S. Bank Arena would be a close second. Yeah, Cincinnati would be a close second for sure.
Way too freaking skinny. I mean, you get all those crowded in the Cincinnati hallway, way too damn skinny.
Yeah.
All right, man. Your favorite Halloween costume you ever wore?
Man, well, I know what you're gonna go with, and that Hooters girl costume was pretty epic. Sorry to everybody in advance. I bought all the Hooters gear, got the actual socks, bought all that stuff off eBay, bought the same shoes, the whole bit, and yeah, yep. I even was a redhead named Wendy, which if anybody that likes fast food like I do, they'd get that joke.
Yeah, I definitely went redhead named Wendy. It's pretty nice. It's funny, dude. You rocked it. I'm telling you. You actually look like one of my ex-girlfriends from high school year.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. We're getting every other word again. I hear you like trying to talk, man. At least you're frozen on the screen laughing.
Choice and women, but you got me.
I think you're back now.
Right. This Wi-Fi is
like 15 seconds, and we'll get you to come back. All right, man. The last two I got. What's your dream venue to see a show you haven't seen a show in yet?
Man, that's tough. Madison Square Garden, probably. I've had a chance twice and dropped the ball on it.
Yeah, I've yet to get up New York for a show, man. I would be Madison Square. I still want to do Red Rocks for sure. The Gorge was cool to knock off the bucket list last year, but dude, Madison Square Garden's cool just because. I mean, there's history, especially if it's a church show. There's always history in that building with church.
Yeah,
a lot of people know that's the arena Church did get fired from the Rascal Flatts story. So, all right, the last one I got, man. An item still on your bucket list.
An item still on my bucket list. Well, Taylor will appreciate this. I've yet to see Clint Black live.
Ooh, okay.
I've got all the rest of that class of '89 or '88, whatever it is. Garth Allen and Travis Tritt, but haven't had Clint yet.
So, all right, Clint Black is the one you really want to see live still that you haven't seen. Who's the one that's passed that you want to see that you didn't get to see? Would that be Keith Whitley, you think?
No. Well, yeah, maybe. Maybe Keith Whitley. It'd be tough to not say Merle, too, because of everything that,
I got lucky to see Merle and Chris Christopherson.
That he means to a lot of people that I'm big fans of.
Yeah, I agree. I got to see him and Chris together, and that was phenomenal. But I always want to see Cash, and it sucks I never got to see Cash. But yeah, dude, Merle, he was good, dude. I mean, when I saw him, he was kind of.
I got to see. Sorry, it's like skipping on me here. Yeah, I got to see Christopherson a few years back, and that was pretty awesome.
Oh, dude, he can't sing worth a damn, but dude, it's just inspirational listening to him.
Yeah, that would be very, very accurate.
All right, man. I'm gonna go ahead and we'll wrap things up with you. Go ahead and take like a 15-minute break, and then we'll recap or get together again on the after show. And I'll get with you here in a minute, man. But thank you so much for spending the last hour with me, dude.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. We'll talk soon. All right, guys. I don't know what happened there at the end. I don't know what we were doing with audio. We're kind of going in and out with them, but we're definitely going to get them back on, reconvene on the after show. So if you guys have not checked it out yet, I will drop the Patreon link again in the comments. We are going to go over onto Patreon, our Patreon only after show on Facebook Live in about 15 minutes. So probably about like 9:25-ish. So we'll be running about 10 minutes late tonight, like always. I'm never on time at all, ever. But that was an amazing show with Jon tonight. Definitely going over a lot of stuff. I do apologize for the audio going in and out. There's must be a bad connection somewhere, but it was still a lot of fun sitting down and chatting with Jon. A lot of cool stuff. I tried showing as many pictures as I could. I mean, I got a lot of pictures from him. If there's stuff that you got, a lot of pictures I didn't get to post tonight, I always do spill them over onto my Patreon only page. So if you are on our Patreon, I think the $3 or $5 tier, you do get the photos that didn't make the show, all the funny ones or whatnot that I might have pulled tonight. He did have one that I wanted to talk to him about. I didn't get a chance to, of him holding a snapping turtle, which I don't know. Jon's a cool dude, but man, it's a wild one out there. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap things up and get going, but thank you so much for joining us on episode 44. We got the Patreon after show coming up with Chris Johnson, Thomas Dunham, all about pit horror stories. This is going to be about a 30-minute just fun chat of just pit horror stories that we're going to talk about. But then next week, we're going to have a really, really special show. It's going to be a fun one. We got a good friend of mine coming on. See you guys later.